Hello, hello, hello.
Whoa,
How are you doing today, Danny?
doing good.
Alright, I'm gonna immediately swap over to the thing here. Pull up, there we go, pull up the PNG. Alright, my headset is not adjusted properly. Why is it not adjusted properly? There we go. Ah, okay. Oh, I'm remembering everything that has happened in the past week on D2, and it hurts.
Oh yeah, no.
Why, Bungo? Why?
This week was a rough one.
Bro, this whole month has been ass. Like, it's just, bruh. So fucked. So fucked. Danny, but before we get into the TWAB, how are you holding up, and do you have anything special going on this weekend?
I not really aside from just having a little bit more time tomorrow to stream, and that's about it.
That's fair. That's fair. Also, I'm looking at the length of the TWAB, and it is long.
Eh, there's a lot of most of it is about story, and a lot of the actual changes can be summarized pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is also true. So,
There's also a lot of pictures.
yeah. So you know what? Well, let's just go ahead and hop into it now. Again, I apologize, chat. I'm recording this at night. That's why my body looks crispy as fuck. Because now we're past the first 30 seconds, so I can curse. So yay. Um. So this week they're digging into the mid-season update for the team, answering a question about one particular weapon players are searching for, a behind-the-scenes look at placeholder animations regarding that gun, update from the player support team, and the community's favorite AOTWs and MOTWs. And again, obviously, we will be skipping the TLDR from last week. But first and foremost, fucking Holiday is dead! What the fuck, Bungie?
Yeah, that one
I don't
came out
think
of
any.
left field.
None of us saw that coming. Not a single one of us saw that coming.
Nope.
I, I'm. Here's my thing, okay? I still don't know if I like this because if you look at the story for those of you, if you have not played the missions, I should have said this earlier. Spoiler warning: Holiday is dead. Um, yeah. I'm gonna be honest. They did not do her justice.
It was a real quick left turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm really not a fan of how her death went, and I'm willing to actually sit and talk for a moment about this, because this is a huge deal. Cause number one, where the fuck are we going for our prime engrams now? That's Raul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why they transferred everything to Raul instead of Amanda. But like, fuck, man. The, and secondly, I feel like Bungie was just like, all right, we need to kill someone off, but who do we kill off? And out of all the people that they could have possibly killed off, Amanda, of all people, makes zero fucking sense. And the only reason why I think that they killed Amanda off is at some point in the future, the Traveler's going to somehow manage to get recontrol and they'll bring Amanda back as a Guardian. But it's not going to be the same Amanda that we know and love. Because it's when you become a Guardian, you lose all your fucking memories. So, you know what? um, that's the only reason why I could think that they really killed her off. Because they really, I'm going to be honest, they really shouldn't have. Story wise, I don't know. I'm really not a fan of it. And they made her go out in the most bullshit way possible. Like that was bullshit. That they did Amanda dirty as fuck last week. or whenever y'all are watching this. The what was it? Week 4?
I think it was week 3 story.
Yeah, week 3 or week 4. Like they did her ass dirty as fuck in this mission. I mean, what do you think, Danny? Do you agree with that? Disagree?
It's like out of the characters they probably could have done, Amanda's the one that would genuinely hurt anyone that's been playing since D1. But it was just so sudden.
It was so sudden, and they really didn't do the they didn't do the death respect. Like, first of all, it's barely the middle of the season. It's not even the middle of the season. Like, and they just threw her whole shit away. I'm really not a fan of the choice that Bungie made. If I'm gonna be honest, I think it's a shit. I think it was a shit choice.
It's just I want to know where they're going with this now, because like that just came out of left field.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, believe my theory or not, Danny, I think that they're gonna bring her back as a guardian. Putting my money on it now. Because there's no reason that she should have died. Absolutely none. And especially the way that she died was so ass. It wasn't even good. It wasn't an intense mission. It wasn't like this race against time. We didn't know there was a fucking bomb in the first place. Like the fuck. Oh my god. The whole thing felt like ass. It was so fucking bad.
It just hurts.
I think for me, it's less of that it hurts and more of I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that this was the direction that they went in. Because they could have had such a better death for her than some random bullshit season story middle of the season mission. It's not even the season finale. It's the first season of Lightfall, and you go off and kill off one of probably the most loved characters in Destiny. And you're just gonna off her with a bullshit week 3 mission? The fuck? It's awful. That's terrible. Like, I'm disappointed. That's bad writing. And it's just, I don't. Like I said, it's less of it's hurt and it hurts me as much as I'm really disappointed in how they handled it because they could have done so much better. Do you at least agree with that?
I just really don't know how they could have handled it. Like in the first season, like that's really sudden. There's no build up.
Yeah, the first season of Lightfall. No build up, just sudden poof. She dead. Like I want to know who the fuck the writers were for this season because this season is ass.
Like I hope they plan on doing like a bit more toward the end of the season as like some insight as to what all went down. Because that was just way too sudden.
I mean, 100% agreed. It was too sudden. It was a bullshit death, and it was a death that honestly should not have happened, if not until far later when the stakes were a lot higher. Like, they could have done this in the last season leading up to Final Shape. Like, I get that you have to kill off certain characters and get to some point. We get that. However, it just felt so jumbled and messy. And again, like you said, it was out of left field. Nobody saw Amanda dying this soon. Nobody.
Like, if anything, like if they were gonna do this season, that would make way more sense. Like an end of season thing, like not a, yeah, it's week 3 of the season. Amanda's dead.
Yeah, no, I don't know what Bungie was thinking, but they screwed the pooch on this. If I'm gonna be completely honest, like this was just piss poor. Like I have forgiven a lot of the things that have happened in Lightfall, and the kind of okay slash bad writing from Lightfall because we're getting a lot more next season.
Like, I'm okay with the way that they're telling Lightfall's story as a whole, because, like, we're getting little bits each season is like, yes, okay, thank you. Thank you for giving a little bit aside from the seasonal story. I'm okay with that if you keep doing that.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? It genuinely makes sense with the fact of like Final Shape is technically the last DLC we know of, and that's going to
Yep.
be next year. So like you and I can both agree, people are going to be dying in
Oh, yeah.
final, like preparing for Final Shape. We are going to see deaths.
And possibly one more subclass.
Yeah, but like this 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 was garbage, straight trash. There was no reason they should have done Amanda dirty like this. And I guarantee you, probably the only reason why they did this is either Amanda's voice actor did not want to continue to play Amanda, which I don't see why she would say that because then I'm pretty sure all of the voice actors said that they love their characters. Um, and number two, her contract was up. But I mean, number two can be simply fixed with, "Hey, we'll give you another year by year contract." Like, I don't know. It's just, it's really, really, really shitty.
Just, I'm just not a fan of how fast it was. Because, like, it's, it's just way too sudden.
100%. 100%. Way too sudden. And there was just no respect in her death. She died to bullshit. You know what she died to, Danny? She died to the architect. That's what she died to. She died to the architect in a PvP match. And I'm like,
Basically.
fucking Christ, man. Seriously? I got enough of that as it is in Crucible. Come on.
It's like, and yet again, I noticed that they're still trying to. It feels like they are still trying to bring Aramis into this somehow.
And that just pisses me off even more because nobody fucking likes Aramis. Nobody. She's
Like,
not a she's not a good. I'm gonna be honest here, Danny. I don't think she's a good villain.
she's really not. She's like Aramis is like the villain that goes into things half-assed. Like, she's not fully committed to one side or the other. She just kind of stuck in between.
Yeah, and it feels like she's trying because I mean, definitely with the last season, right? With well, the last season where Aramis was really prevalent was Season of the Plunder, right? Or
Yep.
Season of Plunder.
Like, they had the opportunity in Season of Plunder to like bring Aramis over. Like, she had an opportunity to be like, okay, I'm done helping the witness, but no, she just ran off.
Yeah, and on top of that, like it feels like they're trying. Hear me out on this, okay? It feels like what they're trying to do with Aramis is kind of along the way of what they did with Crow, which is a somewhat of a redemption arc. However, we all know how much we hated Uldren Sov. However, the player base understands how Guardian memory works. Crow didn't know who the fuck he was beforehand.
Not until the nightmares.
Yeah, until Season of the Haunted when he realized, oh shit, I am that asshole. Actually, no, before that, technically, um, when when his face mask gets knocked off by the sniper in season of the what was it? Season of the Chosen.
And
With
even then, he didn't really understand.
yeah, he didn't know who Uldren Sov was. He just knew the name. And just and that's another thing that ties into this. We never got to see like the finishing of like Crow and Amanda's relationship, or I guess you could technically say like situationship. I really fucking hate that term. Um,
I'm gonna be honest, I was not a fan of them trying to make that a thing for the longest time.
I
It
mean,
just didn't feel right.
I mean, I kind of agree to a certain extent. I'm not a fan of them being love interests, but I feel like there was a lot more. There could have been so much more in a friendship kind of style.
Yeah.
Specifically because, like, for example, right, Amanda was very, very close with Cade. Like,
Yep.
because Amanda was the daredevil human. And let's be honest, Cade 6 is, well, Cade 6 was Cade 6. Like,
Cade.
he
Cade
was,
was also one of the first Guardians that Amanda met.
yeah, the first being Savala, correct?
Like the Vanguard.
Yeah.
Like literally the first three Guardians Amanda met was the Vanguard.
Yeah. And so it's. And so now to be fair, I actually really like the story of Amanda, like being like, what the fuck, you're Uljan Solve, and talking about the radios and the messages, right? And like trying
Yeah.
to get over it. The fact we didn't get to continue to see that absolutely pisses me off to no end.
Like,
Because this does several things. Number one, Amanda's not getting the chance, is now never going to get the chance to get over the fact that Crow was Uljan Solve. And number two, Crow genuinely liked Amanda as a human being.
yep.
And seeing this shit is so fucked up. Like, it's just, in my opinion, this death, it was rushed, it was out of left field, and it leaves so many dots not fucking connected properly. And that's why I'm not a big fan of it. I think it is awful.
Like,
Lack of better words, it was just bad. It was just bad.
the only way that I can see this going really from here is Crow making a really bad decision at the end of the season.
Oh, you mean like he has almost every season that he's actually involved in?
Like, I mean, an actual, there is no recovering from this for you, Crow decision.
Which if I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like. Because as much as a lot of people don't like Crow, I have kind of slowly started to warm up to his character.
Like, I would have been on board with Crow if they'd actually taken the opportunity to, like, have him learn after Saladin basically surrendered himself in Crow's place.
I mean, you're not wrong. 100%. You're not wrong on that. And it feels really shitty.
Yeah, it's just like they had the opportunity to make like a really, really solid character progression for Crow, and they just didn't.
They threw it away.
Yeah, and now it just feels like it's too late.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're really gonna throw away, like, and I kind of agree with you. I feel like they are gonna do something that's gonna involve Crow, basically going off the deep end. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you tried. Season of the Haunted was literally Crow's major redemption arc, which, again, mind you, as much as we hated the gameplay loop for Season of the Haunted,
The story was great.
the lore was great. The lore for Season of the Haunted was phenomenal. Crow dealing with Uldren Sov, Savalas talking to his wife, Keitel talking to Gaul. Some of the best lore that we've seen. Like, as much as people want to shit on Season of the Haunted, because yes, the gameplay in the fucking public event shit on the Leviathan was ass. I'm not going to deny that one bit. The lore missions were phenomenal. And getting to see that lore. And the amount of cutscenes. Danny, the amount of cutscenes we got in Season of the
Yeah.
Haunted was nuts.
It was a good season.
It was a
Like,
great season for
story-wise.
lore. Yeah, it was amazing for story. And they threw it away here. They're going to throw it away. Like, that irritates me even more. Fuck. Before we go, we've been talking about this for the past 10 minutes. We need to move on, otherwise this video is gonna be fucking 2 hours. Um, okay, so Danny, this is a time for a difficulty conversion. I'm gonna let you handle this.
Yeah, because this one's definitely something that they have summed up pretty well. Because they have been, as they said, they've been keeping an eye on community feedback for overall difficulty since Lightfall's launch, and they have some changes in today's update, which was yesterday when this dropped. They have reduced the enemy HP scaler in all non-raid, dungeon, legend, and master activities by 10%. So if you've been finding enemies to be particularly bullet sponges, they're going to be 10% less bullet spongy. They've also reduced the co-op enemy HP scaler in Legendary Avalon by 33% in a full fire team. So if you were having trouble killing stuff in the Avalon mission on Legendary difficulty, now is the time to do it, because they have toned that down to where it is more in line, which is good.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, that mission is not fun.
It's tough.
It is, yeah, it is a tough mission. To everybody that grinded it beforehand, before this nerf, good on you. Like, that is
Yeah.
not an easy mission to do.
And the other thing, yet again, they have reduced the commendation requirements. So Hawthorne's weekly challenge has been reduced from 20 to 5. They've removed Guardian rank objectives that require players to give commendations from ranks 7 through 9. They have further reduced the commendation score required for Guardian ranks 7 through 9. 7 is now 200, down from 460. 8 is 477, down from 790. And 9 is 910, down from 1290.
Again,
So,
more good changes. These are amazing.
chances are, if you've been playing from the beginning of the season, you're already past 900, or at least close to it.
Or you've been playing it nonstop.
Yeah. Like, so basically, it's no longer a concern for anyone that's been playing a significant amount of time this season.
Yeah, pretty much. For those of you that are veterans that started on rank 6, chances are if you just spam some Crucible or some just some, some strikes, you'll most likely be able to reach 7 in no time. Because I'm
Yeah.
rank 6 still. Though, to be fair, I've basically played like one day a week. Now, Danny, now we get into the spiciness.
The best part of this entire TWAB.
Weapons Edition!
The mid-season balance pass is quickly approaching.
And whoo, boy, did we get some good shit. So I'm gonna start over here from this top section here because this is very important. The PvE primary weapon balance. We wanted to see how the PvE sandbox shook out after the release of Lightfall, not necessarily to see if primary weapons needed a buff, but more to see how much we should buff them. We've done quite a bit of testing on these numbers and content ranging from heroic nightfalls to legendary campaigns, all the way up to Grand Masters, and we think that the changes are impactful without invalidating the difficulty of the appropriate levels. So in heroic and legendary content, you should be able to likely to one-shot red bar enemies depending on your weapon type, and even in GMs, we have shaved how many shots it takes and time it takes to kill for the below weapons against red and orange bars. We want to add that we do not believe we are done with tuning weapon damage in PvE. This is just the starting point, and we'll revisit in the coming seasons to make sure everything has a place in the sandbox. And holy shit, they went ham! To start off with, increase the damage of the following types, weapon types against red and orange bars in PvE. Auto rifles have been getting basically shit on by SMGs, because SMGs just spew bullets so much faster.
And do more damage.
Yeah, and do way more damage. So, auto rifles now just automatically do 25% more damage to literally everything.
Yeah.
Like, for those of you that have been waiting to pull out your gnawing hunger, or for those of you that were already gnawing hunger enjoyers, this is fucking gross. That that is fucking gross. Um, Along with that, pulse rifles and hand cannons have been considered weaker and harder PvE content for some time, so we wanted to make sure the buff we gave them was substantial, while at the same time keeping them below the lower ranged options in terms of pure lethality. Pulse rifles have struggled being less effective than scout rifles, despite, for the most part, having a less effective range. We also put sidearms into this group because they similarly lagged in damage output compared to the longer ranged SMGs. At these values, pulse rifles should be in a more reasonable spot. Hand cannons should feel like they pack more of a punch, and sidearms should fall much better into the high risk, high reward category. So, pulse rifles, hand cannons, and sidearms will all be receiving 20% damage buffs. Along with that, scout rifles. We need to be careful tuning scout rifles up too much because they offer the benefits of very safe engagement ranges paired with unlimited ammo. So making them too strong instantly turns most endgame PvE content into sit as far away as possible and plink, which we want to avoid. That being said, after the changes to the other weapons, they felt like they were trailing just a little too far behind, so we moved them up as well. So scout rifles will be getting a 10% damage buff. Along with that, SMGs and bows. We tuned the rest of the primary weapons using these two archetypes as benchmarks, but as mentioned above, we will continue to keep an eye on the primary weapon balance in PvE and may revisit their tunings as needed. Before we get into the next section of the weapon tuning, Danny, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is what the entire community has been waiting for, and finally, Bungie has decided not to nerf the outlying weapon class, but instead buff everything up to the same level. And I am excited to see variety in PvE.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Pulse rifles were just garbage, right? Pulse rifles were garbage.
Aside from, like, one or two.
Yeah. I mean, auto rifles. I think it kind of depended on what auto rifles you were using.
Anything that wasn't exotic was just primarily getting outclassed by.
Well, and it's
SMGs.
only because it's only primary auto rifles, right? It's not energy weapon slot, correct?
I mean, anything that uses primary ammo.
Well, then yeah.
All of these is like everything.
Yeah. So, like example, like I said earlier, gnawing hunger already has a nuts roll with subsistence and rampage. This just made it that much better, right?
Hard light.
Yeah, hard light is gonna be disgusting.
Hard light's back on the menu.
Cerberus +1?
Sweet business.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited to see everything that's happening.
Monte Carlo.
Oh my god. I forget that gun exists.
I'm also thinking about the hand cannons.
Oh, well, I mean, I normally don't use I don't normally use primary hand cannons. The few hand cannons that I do use are mostly legendary, and that is going to be Dire Promise and Austringer. Which, by the way, one of them already has insane god rolls in Dire Promise, and the other one is Austringer, which can be crafted.
I'm very excited right now because hand cannons and sidearms both getting a 20% buff means I can use one of my favorite combos.
Which is?
Sturm and Drang.
Oh, fuck.
Because both of those are getting a 20% buff.
Oh my god, Danny, Rat King buffs!
This is just all around. This is just such a good change.
Oh,
Such
yeah.
a good buff.
Oh my god, Danny, I just realized I can run in my void build, I can run Forerunner bottom dollar. Oh wait, no, Forerunner uses special ammo. Fuck! Alright, never mind, I'm sad now.
Devil's Ruin uses primary ammo though. And that's already strong.
Oh wait, Sunshot's also gonna get this buff too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
no.
Sunshot's currently still good, so
Yeah, that's gross. I mean, the scout rifle.
Oh,
I mean, the
God.
fact that scout rifles also got a little tuning up makes me a little happy because I'm gonna be honest. There's really only two scouts that are really kind of in the meta right now, and one of them is mostly PvP, and that's DMT, with the exception of like a couple PvE roles. I mean, I'm
I just realized
what's that?
that 10% damage buff with Skyburners and an Ignite build.
Oh yeah, no, that'll work.
That that might actually be really fun.
I was gonna say, here's the buff to Polaris Lance you wanted.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a little bit of low. I mean, 10%. That's okay. That's fine.
Well, that's also 10% damage as a whole, which means
Yeah.
Polaris Lance is a catalyst proc. That explosion's
That being
also gonna
said,
get
though,
10% damage buff.
the uh, the one thing I want to really keep an eye on with this buff is Graviton.
Oh,
Graviton with a 20% damage buff.
yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, because isn't Graviton also being used in a lot of Void Warlock builds right now?
Yep, because it works with Bloom real nicely.
Yeah, it's that cosmology is gonna be gross.
There's so many things that are going to be very nice to use.
Oh yeah. Now, moving on. Weapon archetypes. Archetypes specifically are also getting small changes. So, for submachine guns, the aggressive frame SMGs have been very strong in the PvP meta for the last couple months, with a handful of outliers taking most of the credit. Uh, Ikelos SMG was kind of a mystery, so they removed some tuning in the custom scope, causing these weapons to have significantly less recoil than intended. The recoil is now in line with other aggressive frame SMGs, which is basically technically a nerf. Um, but I think that's fine. They also know that the change in isolation is noticeable. There's not that big of a problem with aggressive frame SMGs, so they're gonna still be looking at time to kills and stuff to be going with that.
Yeah.
Uh, Fusion rifles. Shot. So let's see here. So and they don't specifically say it, so I do need to read everything here. So, when we last touched fusion rifles, shotguns had seen a big drop in effectiveness, and we were concerned that rapid fire frame fusions would rise up to take their place. As such, we preemptively nerfed rapid fires pretty hard. In today's sandbox, this is less of a concern due to the renewed strength of shotguns following the airborne effectiveness and pellet spread changes, so we have walked back some of the damage nerf we made to rapid fires. This change will push them back to defeating all resilience levels in 7 bolts and give them a decent bump to ease of use. So, this is strictly for PvP, I believe. Increased burst damage by 15, so the damage per burst goes from 245 to 260. Damage per bolt goes from 27.2 to 28.9, and the damage in PvE is unchanged. I think that's fine,
Yeah.
because I really do not want another. What was that damn fusion that everybody was using, like 3 seasons
Oh,
ago?
I know which one you're talking about. It's the one from the Vanguard playlist because it was
Yes.
so stable
Yeah, and the fact that it was literally one-shotting people with a single charge.
from across the map
Yeah,
because reasons.
yeah, not fun. So
Yeah.
good to see this. So it's not fully back to where it should be because I believe last time I believe it was 265, 270 was the full burst. So they're not fully buffing it back. But it's nice to see them get a little bit of a change, so it's not that bad. And this is
Yeah.
to all rapid fire frame fusions, so that's pretty dope. Trace rifles, interestingly enough, are also going to get changed. Trace rifles are in a bit of a precarious spot in the Crucible. In the right hands, they can kill very quickly from long ranges, even outside of their optimal time to kill. On the other hand, they can be difficult to use, and they often feel heavily ammo limited if you are not hitting the TTK time. We did a lot of experimenting with them for this change, including multiple combinations of damage and crit ratios, and settled on the values below as the highest we could push their damage output before they became frustrating to deal with in Crucible. Interestingly, with damage any higher than this, the feeling was that they had a surplus of ammo, especially in 6v6 modes, and could often net 2 kills per special brick picked up, which was concerning. Once we moved their damage values, they still felt like they needed a little bit more, and we wanted to lean harder into making them feel good to use, so we increased the effect that stability has on reducing flinch at the high end of the stat. We'll monitor the change when it goes live and may revisit the ammo situation in a future update if their effectiveness remains low. So the overall changes are as such to all trace rifles. That is increased base damage by 4%. The base damage goes from 12 to 12.5. Reduced precision hit multiplier from 1.4 times to 1.35 times. So the crit damage technically goes from 6 16.8 to 16.9. And then they increase the effectiveness of stability at reducing flinch by 10% at 100 stat. Scales down at lower values. I think this is overall not a bad change.
Yeah, like they're cutting down just a tiny bit of it, and I think what they're compensating with it is more than enough.
Yeah, and technically with the 4% damage increase, the nerf to their multiplier actually still means that their crit multiplier is still higher, even if by zero point 0.1, which I think is fine. Because I'm gonna be honest, most people don't really use trace rifles to start with.
Yeah,
They're very very niche weapon that I'm gonna be honest, you kind of have to be a specific style of player to really use one.
it's like certain game modes, specifically like momentum control, they are significantly better than other options, but outside of that, it you have to really like trace rifles.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only trace rifle that I really think people have actually used is Aegir's Scepter, and that's just because of the freezing mechanic. It's not even because of the damage.
They still use Prometheus a lot.
Well, yeah, also, Prometheus was like the one that never got fucking nerfed.
I mean, it's very much nerfed from where it was when it was
Well,
introduced.
yeah, but
It's
that's
a
just
very
part.
nerf.
But yeah, but that's just part for the course.
Yeah.
It's nice to see though that trace rifles getting a little bit of love because when was the last time we actually really talked about trace rifles getting changes? It's
It's been a while.
it's been a minute. It's been at least 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 2 seasons plus. So it's nice to see them back in the limelight, even if for just a little bit. Sniper rifles. Rapid fire frame sniper rifles have long struggled to find a place in both the PvP and PvE meta. In PvP, their inability to kill with 2 body shots puts them on uneven footing with other snipers, and in PvE, their fast RPM but standard inventory sizes means you constantly feel low on ammo. To address these concerns and differentiate them from other sniper subfamilies, we've reduced their recoil by 50%. This means hitting crits on a boss or champions in PvE is much easier, and taking rapid follow-up shots in PvP is too. We have also increased their inventory stat by 30%, which should give them a lot more rounds to play with in PvE content. So they've overall reduced the recoil on all of them by 50%, and they increased the total ammunition, both magazine and reserves, by 30%. So they increased both the magazine size and how much you can carry. Which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really use snipers, so I don't really know what snipers are rapid fire.
I part of me wants to say actually like Darcy I think is a rapid fire. And
We got Darcy buffs!
I still don't think it's gonna help that poor thing.
No,
They
but
really should just bite the bullet and put it in the energy slot.
they really should. It should not be a heavy weapon. It really shouldn't.
Either they need to buff its damage by a significant amount, or
Make its
just leave it
catalyst
in the energy
actually
slot.
something worth a damn.
Like Jolt is good. Like it absolutely adds an extra like 25k to its damage, but like
The actual damage itself is still whack.
it's not a heavy weapon damage.
Yeah,
It's like
it's not. It's not. So comparing it to a lot, like let's just compare to other long range options, right? You are not taking Darcy versus stuff that even outside of the category, right? Like you're not taking Darcy over Xenophage. You're not taking Darcy over Whisper of the Worm. You're not taking Darcy over Leviathan's Breath, right? You're not taking Darcy over so many of the other long range option exotics in the heavy slot. Because let's be honest,
legendaries.
there's a lot of really good ones.
Like even legendaries.
Yeah, 100%. It's Darcy feels super bad to play with.
It's like I feel like just like very few people use it, just not because like they don't like it, but just because it's like it just doesn't
Do anything.
justify the exotic slot.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Danny, didn't you even do a video on that?
Yeah.
By the way, which you can also find on Danny's YouTube channel at CatboxDanny.
It's like I did a video as soon as it like after
You
the
literally
update,
did it the day it dropped.
and I was like, eh. You
This is
get a
bugs.
burst of like 25, and it's like that's the Darcy change. I didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah. So, now we are getting some stuffs and exotic weapons, which is very interesting to see. Uh, Number one, I think we can all agree that this is a great change. Final warning, the sidearm can no longer mark targets through Titan barricades.
Yeah,
Thank fucking god. That shit was OP, bro. What the fuck?
the next one is equally funny.
Yeah, I saw that Terraba got a change. When was the last time this fucking thing had something happen to it?
They
Um,
changed it to where Ravenous Beast would only remove half of its charge when you stowed it instead of the entire thing. That's the last time they changed this weapon.
So inevitably, they're reducing the amount of Ravenous Beast energy generated when taking damage from 3 to 1%, and they reduced the zoom from 16 to 15. So they nerfed it. Nobody
Very
nobody fucking
slightly.
uses it.
It's like I will say in PvP when you get Ravenous Beast going, no one can touch you. You look at someone and they die because it takes its RPM from I think it's like somewhere between 750 800 normally up to like somewhere between 9 and 1200,
I don't
and it
remember the last time
increases
I
its
saw
damage.
anybody use Terrible though.
It's kind of good.
I don't remember seeing this thing be used at all recently. I have not seen a single person with it, so um but yeah, Terrible's getting a nerf.
Yeah,
Weird flex, but okay. Um Revision 0 is getting nerfs. Um so
sort of, but not really.
my bad. Let me rephrase. They got to change. So 4 times the charm will now reset when you're entering a hunter's trance. Along with that, this will also prevent the issue of firing a single shot while in hunter's trance and being forcibly returned to pulse rifle mode when FTTC activates. That's interesting to note. That's also pretty good. Increased PVE damage of the hunter's trace rounds by 25%. They also increased the PVE damage of the Hake heavy burst rounds by 75%. The Hunter's Trace rounds are the 4 shots, and the Hake Heavy Burst is the 2 rounds, correct?
Yep.
So that is kind of interesting, which, I kind of understand because nobody really used the Hake Heavy Burst. Nobody really used it.
I think I might have been the only person who was actually using that.
I used it once, and I preferred the 4 shot because the 4 shot was so much more valuable
Yeah,
to me.
that's 75% buff. Kind of sounding good though.
Yeah, no, I mean 75% on anything sounds amazing to me. That sounds dope. Along with that, Bungie released their TWAB on the 29th about reticles. And I'm just going to leave the photo up here. And Danny, would you mind talking about this real quick? Because I have not seen this video yet.
Yeah. Basically, what they did is they're just showing off all of their hipfire reticles that they added in since they changed how certain weapons and certain weapon archetypes work when fired from the hips, because you can tell on different shotgun types. They will show you their spread based on the reticle that you have when you're hip firing.
Is that
So
Ace
if
of
you're,
Spades
yep,
on the
that
initial?
is Ace of Spades.
Lol. I could tell from the glowing fucking the glowing chamber.
Yep, cooling chamber in that very, very barrel shaped tracer.
Yeah. So okay. So we at least kind of we're getting different. We're getting to see different reticles, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So that's good. They are also putting out some stuff for the season 21 launch, which will be next season. There's going to be doing a sweeping rework of all of the weapon hipfire reticles to better display useful information to players. This includes accuracy, aim assist, charge states, exotic perk states, etc., which is really nice because there's a lot of exotic weapons that operate when you fire them from the hip.
Yep.
So pretty cool. They're nerfing aggressive frame SMGs, just flat out. They're just nerfing them.
Which makes sense because they're currently the only SMGs really in use.
Yeah. Along with that, these next two ones kind of terrify me. They're adding a 10% PvE buff to sniper rifle damage.
They really need it.
And then buff slash adjustments to more than a dozen exotic weapons, including Graviton Lance and Salvation's Grip. First
Salvation's
of all,
Grip
should not exist. That weapon is a meme. No one fucking uses it. It is literally just used to break the map. Graviton Lance, however, is already a meta weapon. And that is terrifying to hear that it may get a buff on top of the buffs that it got earlier. Because it's a scout rifle, correct?
It's a pulse rifle.
It's a pulse rifle. So it just got a 20% damage buff, and it's going to get a possible another buff next season. Psst, shh, shh. For those of you watching, don't use Graviton Lance. Make Bungie overbuff it. You're welcome.
I mean, pulse rifles need a time in PvE. They really do.
When was the last time they had a time in PvE? Like, never, were we?
I think vanilla. Vanilla D2.
Yes, Red War.
Yeah. Salvation's Grip, though? I'm interested to see because it's a grenade launcher, so technically it should have been included in that grenade launcher buff at the beginning of this season.
But here's the thing, though. Why would you take Salvation's Grip when you can use literally any other grenade launcher?
I wonder what they're gonna buff with that.
I would like to see explosion damage from the ice. That's what I want to see. I want to see the charged ice explosion do a fuck ton of damage. That is exactly what I want to see. Because if I'm going to be honest, Salvation's Grip is used for one thing and one thing only, and that is to break out of the map. That is it. That is the only thing it is used for. Otherwise, it is fucking useless.
It's really not good.
It's bad. It's fucking bad. So, yeah. But you know what, though, Danny? It says to more than a dozen exotic weapons. You know what this means, though?
Darcy might have a chance.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably
I was waiting
not.
for it. Darcy may get a buff. Let's go!
I mean, snipers are getting a PvE buff. That's a really small PvE buff, but...
I mean, 10% damage is still 10% damage. I will still take a buff to snipers, in general.
That being said, that's also probably 10% damage to Whisper, which, yet again, just means Darcy gets shafted by default.
Oh, don't forget Cloud Strike.
Cloud Strike, again, Darcy also gets shafted by default.
Darcy is just not having a good time.
Darcy needs something.
You know what? We're going to invent Darcy's new catalyst right here, right now. If you are looking at a target and you hit their and you're got the fully charged crit spot set up, if you hit it, you get 100% shots back.
I think what would actually help Darcy is if, with its target acquisition active, if you hit a crit spot, it should do like 2 to 3 times damage.
100%. I mean, it makes sense. It's literally the beginner sniper.
Like, give it extra damage and make it more rewarding for hitting crits. Like, that's all you need to do. Because, like, I think it only carries like 25 rounds.
It really does not carry a lot of rounds. And it's got like, what, a 4 or 5 round clip?
Yeah, and it's a rapid fire, so you go through it real fast.
Yeah. So, wait. Yeah, so that means rapid fires got what? Reduced recoil by 50%. And,
yeah.
well, technically Darcy did get an ammo buff, so at least part of the problem is solved. Because that ammo capacity is fucking buns.
And the way that the game is right now, investing in extra reserves is honestly not worth it.
Yeah, because there's so many better mods available.
Like
Armor Charge.
Armor Charge mods, resistance mods. I
mean, if you've got the Artifice Armor, literally any stat mod, like, ever,
I mean, the best part about the Artifice armor is those extra stat mods don't use any energy. They're just free. It's just free 3 points.
Free? I'm
Yeah, just
sorry.
free 3 points.
No, I'm sorry. Did you not get what that's from?
That's good.
What fucking show is that again? That's from?
I
It's
can't
like
even remember.
it's like something town.
I think so.
Yeah, it's the goofy dude with like the clean shaven face with the massive chin. What do I owe you? Nothing. It's free. Free. So, along with that, in the future, they're going to be taking a look at how Zoom interacts with damage fall off and the base damage fall off of ranges of all weapons in general, which I'm actually really a fan of. That this whole section is basically kind of talking about Zooms. Because that is a big talk in both PvE and PvP, though primarily a lot more in PvP due to damage fall off against Guardians. Because that can actually change whether or not you one tap someone or not. So zoom and perks like rangefinder that manipulate zoom have become a requirement on several weapon types, either to complete it all in the to compete at all in the sandbox, or to allow the weapon to exceed its intended engagement ranges. This has led us to begin to consolidate zoom values on certain weapon archetypes, which removes an important lever that we can use to modify weapon feel, given the effect zoom has on field of view, recoil reduction, and aim assist fall off. We'll be investigating decoupling damage falloff from Zoom. This will be paired alongside a refresh of the base damage falloff values to compensate, which would allow us to better control the engagement ranges of individual archetypes, while at the same time letting us continue to use Zoom as a tuning knob for weapon feel without dramatically changing their performance. And I'm actually kind of okay with this. It that I definitely get that because there are too many weapons. Like a great example is, as they stated, rangefinder is almost a necessity on like pretty much every every PvP hand cannon. Like rangefinder on a PvP hand cannon gives you like an additional what 6 meters of 1 to 2 tap kill. Like
Yeah,
that's
like
insane.
there are so many like weapon types right now. Well, at least like before this buff, where rangefinder makes it so much more competitive, and without it, it's just you notice the damage drop off.
Yeah. And I like that they're readjusting Zoom to actually be more of just that. It's a Zoom. It's
Yeah,
supposed to do
like
what
a
it's supposed to do.
zoom should, yeah, it should only affect the scope. That's all it should affect.
Yeah, it should never affect damage. Right. Which is what rangefinder does. Which,
Yep.
I mean, completely knocks out. So, like, if you're not running a rangefinder hand cannon, now you can bitch at me all you want if you're a PvP main, right? But rangefinder, basically, not any rangefinder hand cannon will almost beat out any non-rangefinder hand cannon, in a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's nice to see that they're very specifically talking about Zoom because it has kind of been, if I'm gonna be honest, Danny, been a very underrated topic that we haven't really gotten to talk about in a very long time. So it's nice to see them actually bringing it up here to give us actually the chance to see, oh, all right, I'm not mad about it. It's nice to see just good base values increase.
Yeah.
Now this is just a fucking meme. Danny, do you want to take this one?
This one, this one I want to summarize a little bit because they do go on about it a tiny little bit. But basically, I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering why, in the Lightfall cutscenes, is our Guardian using the Kvostov? Or why, in the commendation screen, is everyone holding a Kvostov?
Which, number one, great meme, by the way.
It's a great meme, but also, it's because they realized during the Witch Queen campaign that letting your Guardian hold whatever weapon that they are currently using can lead to some very goofy looking cutscenes.
Yeah.
Case in point, the end of the Witch Queen campaign. If you are using a bow, the way that they point it in the direction of Southun's ghost, uh, looks a little funky with a bow. So they're like, maybe we should have something, you know, set for the cutscenes. So they were like, I know, Kvostov.
Which I think a lot of the players didn't mind. Like, here's like, and I kind of agree that as quirky and wild as it is to like show your guardian right in all of their crazy cool gear and their fashion sense and whatnot,
Yeah,
the amount of fucking guns that they have to code for those cutscenes is a
a
little
lot.
obnoxious.
There's a lot.
There's a
And
lot, and
also a little bit below, they have the a visual representation of the difference of what you see in the cutscenes versus what the animators are looking at,
yeah,
which
um,
is really funny.
yeah, it is wild. Um, and if I'm gonna be honest, again, like I said, I very actually much heavily agree with it. Um, what you see, what we see, lol. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's just real, real wacky. Um, so I wholeheartedly kind of agree to that, and every person has held a Kvostov in their character's hands once in
yeah.
their life, and that is at the very beginning of the story.
It's the very first gun that you pick up.
Yeah, so it's really easy to code when everyone's held it at least once.
Yep.
So, also, again, good meme.
I still wish they would bring the exotic version over. Because I think it would actually legitimately fit in D2 much better than it did in D1.
I think that is fair, especially with how wacky shit is in D2 right now.
Because, like, the Kvostov exotic was the first weapon in Destiny's history that you could change what type of weapon it was.
Mm-hmm. Also, have some free wall art. There's
There's a
Marisov.
lot.
Yeah, Marisov knighting someone. The room where you fight Nezarek. Even though Nezarek is kind of bitch made. Um, the fucking giant moth looming over Neomuna. That's pretty good.
Oh, it gets better.
The Guardian with Strand. That's a warlock.
Yep.
Huh. I'm gonna save that to be my wallpaper. That's just a good wallpaper. This one of above Neomuna is really good. Fucking close up on Nezarek. That is a phenomenal set of art. That's awesome. I love that. Again, the moth again. What is up with this giant fucking moth? Danny, what is the meme about this giant fucking moth in Neomuna just fucking around and finding out?
Just they just wanted to put the puka everywhere.
The Pukusi? I'm sorry. This stupid ass mission? God, fuck the mind. Fuck the corrupted mind. Oh my god. Why is the Puka here again? Why? Bro, what is up with the goddamn Puka? It's just getting bigger and bigger. What the fuck?
It's this art is something.
Hunter Strand. Uh, the mobile version of that art.
Which is basically just super close-ups.
Yeah. So, Hunter, Nezarek. Nezarek would like to know your location.
Also note, every single one of Nezarek's eyes is different.
Oh, yeah. Here's my question, though, Danny. Do you think he's actually blind in one of those eyes and then colorblind in the other?
I don't know.
Like, just look at him. He definitely's got cataracts in at least one of them.
Nezarek has some pretty brutal lore.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Also, I never realized that Nezarek was basically just a giant tormentor, which is probably why he's so bitch made. Um,
And it is interesting to note that the last person that saw Nezarek before that fight went insane.
who was that?
I don't know if they ever gave a name, but they were Nezarek's last victims.
Close up on the room. Jesus Christ, the fucking puka, man.
Yeah,
God damn the puka. The gate. Oh my god, these fucking mobile arts are huge. Oh,
yeah,
player
they
support.
are
Here we go. We made it
massive.
through. Oh my god, there's so many more problems. What the fuck? Are we gonna go through all of these?
A lot of them are the same. Some of them are different, but
Is there any that we
uh,
need to go over?
the main one is loadout crashes.
Oh, where is that? Hold up.
It's the very top, like right above the Guardian rank update.
Oh, that sucks. Don't use the empowered finisher mod, guys.
Yep. Basically, the reason why they changed that is because there is a mod that gives you armor charges for doing a finisher, and a mod that uses armor charges to create special ammo. They worked one after the other, so you could get the charges and create ammo indefinitely by doing finishers. And they changed how that worked, so they would work simultaneously. And notably, loadouts, if you made it before that, not super happy with the that version of the mod not existing in the game anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good fucking. That's a good bug. That's funny as shit. Yeah, that's just funny as fuck. Uh, so yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing really else that we need to go over as far as I know of. Oh, actually,
Like,
no, this one is new, I think. Certain heavy weapon archetypes are not benefiting from equipping a third reserve mod. That's actually kind of bad.
I understand, which is another reason why I'm saying like reserve mods are just not worth it right now. Honestly,
I
they're
think
really
I,
not.
I think well, I would argue a counter argument uh to certain guns that because not every reserve mod, so not every gun gets the same amount of bullets in the magazine as it does the same amount of shots in reserve. A great
Yeah,
example of this is Xenophage. Xenophage is a 13 shot machine gun. Uh, it carries 18 in the reserve.
yeah.
So, like, it carries technically, effectively, less than 2.5 clips. That's kind of fucked. So like if you put on at least 2 reserve mods, you can at least get close to a third full clip, which makes sense. I think certain guns that are like that, where you need to hit every single shot, and I think especially for like things like Xenophage, like snipers that don't have the exact amount of bullets, because you don't know when you're gonna get another heavy brick.
This is kind of why I use the new ammo finder mod.
Yeah, which I think is 100% fine. I think the new ammo finder mod is also phenomenal, but
Someone actually crunched the numbers on them too, and two of them starts you out basically like 33% to a heavy ammo brick,
huh, interesting.
and it you get 1.67% per kill with an exotic primary, and 1.33, I think, with a legendary.
That's pretty solid, actually.
So in raid content, you can create heavy ammo pretty consistently.
Again, the new mods, woo, Danny, they are
They good.
spicy.
Yeah, the mods are good.
The mods are very good.
I'm happy with
Oh,
these.
oh yeah. No, unfortunately, again, we will not be watching the videos. However,
I've seen that one.
Valor Lee, investigating a strand anomaly. Uh, and then a DVS NTT. Due to certain circumstances, the Guardian Space Agency is hard at work determining new ways to support the Guardian fleet with space travel. Preliminary results: rocket riding is down, Lumina riding is down, but Guardian down riding. That's some funny shit. Also, the person who did that initial Freebird video,
Yeah.
they made one for Amanda.
Yep.
And I'm still trying to get used to learning how to grab onto a rocket.
Rockets are very tricky. Lumina rounds, not as tricky.
Well, Lumina rounds don't travel infinitely, do they?
They travel a pretty good distance.
Yeah, but it's not like the entirety of the Kingsfall Gorge distance, though.
It's a good bit through that. Not the entire thing, but it's a good bit through that.
I wonder if you have the extender, could you thunder crash the entire distance?
I don't think Thunder Crash can make it across anymore.
I know you can. I know you can tag onto a person that's skating.
Oh yeah, no, you can absolutely tag onto a person that's skating.
I was about to say, I don't
That
know if you saw
and
Sweatsicle's fucking post on Twitter today, but they had 5 guys on strand and one dude, I think it was a Solar Warlock skating,
yep,
and they all went across the gorge, and I'm like, that's gross.
yep, you can easily do that. You can clear a lot of encounters with Strand, like especially like old content too, like
Oh,
old
Strand is so much.
dungeons, for instance.
Old Strand and new content or Strand and old content, so much fun.
Just
Holy
as a
shit.
note, the world record now for Prophecy is 5 minutes 18.
5 minutes for the entirety of the dungeon.
Yep,
What the fuck?
5 minutes for the entirety of Prophecy.
I can only imagine the hell that is.
It's funny because you can skip the entire like first door, like that opening encounter with the 3 locked doors. You can just skip that whole thing and go straight up to the boss fight.
Wow. Well, and also the fucking race.
Yeah, you can just skip right across the whole thing.
Yeah, fucking Rainbow Road. You can literally just grapple, 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 grapple all the way down. Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Grapple with someone that does sparrow flying.
That sounds so much fun. We now have to try that, Danny.
It's pretty funny.
So Nezarek and Eris walk into a bar. Um, so, uh, Ascendant Raisin yet again coming back. I've fallen in love with Nezarek actually, and just some simple just line and shading art, but it's really good. Nezarek looking at their hand. That's some pretty solid art.
Yeah.
Um, Eris Morn, drawn by Polar Bear 2324 on Twitter, drawn by a friend's request, and I love that with the hive glyphs floating out of her eyes. That honestly looks like, if you black and white it, Danny, that straight up looks like the art that would come from one of the Destiny 2 cutscenes.
Yeah.
Like, that is such amazing art, and I love that. And that is it for the TWAB. Just again as a quick recap, Amanda dying is bullshit. They nerfed heavy and master law sectors. Avalon is now easier to do. Damage, damage, damage. Lots of gun buffs and random nerfs.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part of this TWAB, Danny?
It's the same thing that I said last time that I heard it. The primary buffs, like
I have to hard agree. Hard agree. It is nice.
they have. It's been asked about for so long to buff primary weapons.
And to not nerf what was already good.
Yeah, because like primary weapons just feel kind of second hand, especially right now because like abilities are back in full force with the new core of the game. because you can get supers back real fast
Yeah,
right now.
with the new mods and everything that's available, even though they technically nerfed all of the stats, it's the with the inclusion of the new mods, it's still roughly about the same, if not even a little bit better to get ability charges back. So overall, not too bad gameplay wise.
Yeah, like right now, for instance, if you, for instance, throw two ashes to asset mods on your helmet, you get like a third of your super back every grenade kill.
Yeah,
So if you're a
yeah.
Void Warlock and you have Nezarec,
Oh, I was about to say, not even Starfire Protocol on a Solar Warlock.
Starfire's great, but think of all the Nova bombs.
Well, I mean, yeah. Or all the blinks, man.
Yeah, like
Nobody fucking
Nezarex,
uses blink. Blink is ass.
Nezarex plus ashes to assets might be the funniest thing I think I've seen so far.
It is legit unlimited Nova Bombs, unlimited grenades.
Because your Nova bombs feed back into ability recharge. It just never stops.
And they don't stop and they don't stop voiding 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 and they don't stop voiding. So, yeah. With that being said, Danny, do you have anything else to say about this TWAB?
I think we got it covered. That's pretty solid TWAB.
Good TWAB. Good TWAB. Uh,
Yeah.
and with that being said, Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch under the same name.
You can also find me uh, at Twitch or YouTube at Domini Fox. You can also follow me on Twitter at DominiFox1. Uh, we really appreciate everybody stopping by and taking the time out to listen / watch the video. We both really appreciate it. With that being said, again, we're looking at feedback about when to release the videos. So we're gonna try and get an official like when we're gonna record, when we're gonna release kind of schedule out. Things are looking a little weird right now just because I have my job on Wednesdays and Thursdays. That's hopefully going to be reinstated, so it's going to be a little bit weird. With that being said, thank you to everyone so much for stopping by. We both hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your night. And as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll catch you guys next time.